Welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon Violet Blind. I always have to do that to sync up the audio. No thanks. Yeah, the internet was absolutely dreadful a few hours ago. It was not working at all. So I wouldn't have even been able to do the update thing even if I had no further choice but to do so, you know? Because the internet was down. And while the internet was down, I was like, you know what? I'll play guitar. And I was like... Because seriously, that freaking credit song has been stuck in my head. It's not even a really complicated song. I didn't even realize that it was Ed Sheeran. I'm not really super familiar with his music. Which some people would be like, oh, you lucky sir. But it's a catchy tune, man. Like... real simple melody as well. Just playing a minor third. And then for like the Celestial, that's just like an F sharp to D. And the chord progression is G, B minor, D major, A major. That's how I actually figured out that was an Ed Sheeran song. I was looking up a tab, I was like, well, I can't find it on the Pokemon soundtrack, so that track looks like it's probably called Celestial, and sure enough, there it was, under Ed Sheeran. Like, was it made specifically for this game, or did they just choose that song randomly? But the chord progression, it's, you know, just major, key, you know, typical kind of 4-chord song. What I found funny in the tab was, like, 2 comments that kind of amused me. One was like, jump scared at the end of a Pokemon game by Ed Sheeran. It's like, yeah, unexpected to hear any song with vocals in a Pokemon game, let alone like something by someone well known like that. But then there was another comment. It's like, has he learnt a 5th chord yet? Because I guess he's not kind of well known for just playing 4-chord songs. And yeah, that song is basically his 4 chords. Funnily enough, it starts out with the 4th. It's kind of playing around the 4th chord of D major modulating. We got the 4th, the 6th, the 1st and the 5th, and 4th and 6th. 1 and 5, 4 and 6. 1 and 5, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. When I was playing along to it, it's like, fucking even I've done that before. I kind of like did this kind of chord progression where it's like... It's like, I've done that exact chord progression in one of my songs. One of my songs I've never recorded. I've never even finished that song, because it's got to be one of my more ambitious songs, and I was way in over my head trying to make it work. It was like, okay, seasons of the year. Let's have like a song that incorporates each season having a different style of music. And basically that chord progression was for summer, which is the more pop kind of orientated one, because it's, you know, a lot more upbeat. Where spring uses like a lot of 9s. I can't remember how it went, but it's like... yeah, I can't remember. And then like for autumn, it's like a bit more jazzy. Anyways, enough of staring at this menu for 5 minutes. I also recorded myself playing that on guitar earlier. The Celestial song, just the chorus. Maybe I'll have it play at some point in the video. I'm not sure when. Maybe I should have it play here even though it'll clash with the music playing in the background. Why not? How long was it? It was probably like maybe 20 seconds, 3 seconds. Anyways, we got school. It's like only one view on the previous part. I actually edited the previous part. Well, obviously I edit all my videos, but the point is I made 2 versions because, you know, I knew it would happen, and then when I uploaded it, it happened. Copyright claim. It was unexpected in that it seems kind of mild compared to how I was expecting. I thought it was going to be like blocked in many countries, but no, it's just Russia and Belarus, so it's like, what the fuck? Your head looked weird there. Your hat looked like it was part of your hair. It really threw me off. But I was like, you know what, fuck, I don't know if anyone from those countries even watching my videos, but I'll make a second version where I replace the credits song with some of my own guitar and keyboard improv, which I did. So I uploaded 2 versions, and only the edited version has any views at the moment, and it's one singular view. So it's like, yeah, we defeated the final boss, the professor. He's gone to the future, and he's actually a robot. The real professor died ages ago, but you get the idea. Loads of shit happens. We got credits and everything, but now we're in the post game, and the post game sounds like it's gonna be a lot more eventful than I was anticipating. But before we get to any of that, let's do some languages. I wonder what happens when you complete all the classes. Do you get anything out of it? Oh, can you imagine that? It's like, okay, we're in a really shitty times when it comes to video games, where everything costs a fortune, you own nothing, and stuff like that. You know, a lot of shitty practices in modern gaming, and one of those is the fact that you have to pay on freaking consoles just to be able to use online features. It's like, for God's sake, you have to have an internet connection. So it's like, why do you have to pay extra? You're already paying for your goddamn internet. So now you gotta pay extra just to freaking use that. You can't trade your Pokemon. No, you can't do that. You gotta have subscription. But what if they made it so that if you maxed out all of the classes, you are rewarded with being able to do that for free? Of course they wouldn't do that. But that'd be a hell of a reward. My dear friends, how are you all today? I hope you're doing marvelously well, as apparently it's supposed to be a heat wave today. The current temperature says it's about 21, and then as soon as I opened up the thing it said 23, so I don't know about that. Goddamn heat waves. The last heat wave freaking destroyed me, man. It was horrible. It's time for another of Salvatore's language lessons. It's for Spritz, are you ready? Yes, oui. I would expect no less from my excellent friends. Even your replies to my questions are excellent. Today we will once again be focusing on listening. I also noticed in the credits they showed like voices. Like people who, you know, had their voices out of the game or something like that. I'm like, what did they do exactly? Did they make like some Pokemon noises? Because there ain't no voice acting in the game, so I don't know what that part of the credits was all about. Seriously, man, if this was voice acted, well, I wouldn't have much to commentate on then, wouldn't I? I wouldn't be able to read their dialogue if they're, well, they probably would only have it at select points. That's how it usually goes. The point is, I'd be able to understand the pronunciation on some of these words, you know? Then again, you do get cases where, like, the voice actor doesn't actually pronounce the words or name correctly. He just kind of like, yeah. But I got it for it. My assistant, Pikachu. Wait, what? Vaz, ego for it. You didn't? You see, he's not voice act. That's digital sound in sound effect. It's not the Pikachu. Pikachu nods. You know, when they just say the names. As you may remember from our last class, the same Pokemon's cries may sound different depending on what it wants to say. I want to hear today what is, that is, we will be learning more about the language used by Pokemon. Dendra, if you would lay so kind, Pikachu. That sounds a bit bleak, doesn't it? His voice seems a little lower pitched too. What emotion do you suppose Pikachu was trying to convey just now? Sadness? That's right, Emily May. Fantastique. Well, you hinted that it was sad. When Pikachu says, I feel like shit. Life's depressing. His expressing sadness kind of makes you want to cry, doesn't it? That's right, I had my little Pikachu cry as if it was crying. Haha, funny joke, right? Are you treating that Pikachu poorly there, Professor? It's like, he keeps me in the ball all the time, and when he lets me out, he's just like, cry for me, you little bitch, cry. And I'm like, no, I don't want to, cry, you little bitch. And then he starts hitting me with his stick, and it's like, oh, it's torture. But you know, my expression doesn't say that, because that's all bullshit, that's a lie. But you think he did a great job. Give Pikachu a round of applause. And now, a promise of nothing, let me give you all one of my wise words of advice. If you hear one of your Pokemon making sad noises like this one, you should treat them with even more kindness than usual. Well, you probably already knew that, though. A piece of cake for you all, I'm sure. Of course, this goes for your classmates and others as well. Friends should support each other in times of sadness. I truly hope that you all can have smiles on your faces all the time, my friends. Except not when it's, you know, not appropriate. Can't be smiling when something like super depressing is going on. Everyone gets suspicious. Operating scores, next lesson that is, will be our final lesson together. I hope you're ready for the climatic fight finale. Adios, matane. Well, the classes that we got, yeah. Oh god, there's 3 more classes. It's like, I'm not gonna do like all of the classes. I'm gonna get them all to the, you know, so the next lesson will be the final lesson, basically. I thought it said, would you like to battle Miss Dendra? You know, apparently with the arrangement of things, it sounds like we are gonna be facing her in a battle at some point. Another day, another round of battle study. Oos, let's get right to it. I hope you gave auto battles a shot like we talked about last class. Making good use of auto battles will let you train up a bunch of different Pokemon. And, you know, completely pulverize the local environment. It's also an efficient way to gather the Pokemon materials you need to make TMs at TM machines. Speaking of which, have you all been using the TM machines? Not really. I sure hope so, cause it's pop quiz time. To create TMs you need Pokemon materials and one other thing. Anyone remember what that is? Money? Close, new kid, close, but don't think that money makes you makes every little thing in the world go round. It's LP, isn't it? The correct answer is League Points, or LP for short. You can give LP and Pokemon materials to a TM machine to create TMs, but that's not all. You can also exchange Pokemon materials at a TM machine to get LP. LP actually stands for Let's Play. Hey, look. Wasn't it quite ages ago we saw Nemona with her Pokemon there? It was, you know, it's pre-evolved form, but now it's fully evolved now, isn't it? It does really make me wonder, if we came here when we were still in Area 0, would Nemona also show up for the lesson? It's like, how'd you get back? I used a teleporter. What, you thought I didn't notice that? I recently heard about some shitty individuals getting LP illegally using a technique called hacking, or something like that. Good thing Penny's not in this class. I don't want any of you getting involved in bad stuff like that, got it? I will karate chop your heads. Anyway, you can also add TMs that you want to make to your watches. This will let you keep an eye on the materials you need to carry them. It's like I wishlisted this Pokemon at that TM. Maybe it isn't Wish. Is Wish a TM? I can't remember. I think it's a move. In conclusion, in order to make TMs you need Pokemon materials, and if you want to get a hold of lots of materials you'll have to battle all kinds of Pokemon and beat the living shit out of them. Ah man, I was just about to suggest we do some hands-on practice to really drive the point home, but I guess we're never gonna have the time. That's over for now, take care you little rascals. We didn't point out that the next class is gonna be the last year classes, which makes me wonder if they're not all equal in like the amount of classes they have. Maybe some get extra. They realized this was a bit too much of a hassle. Terrible. Hello class, it is I, Hassel, yet again. First, allow me to apologize for losing my composure during our last class. I can't even remember what happened. I was so touched by Brassier's story that I simply couldn't contain my emotions. I'm sorry for making such a scene. I certainly got a very stern talking to from Miss Time after that class, yes. Anyway, let us shift gears and dive into the material for today's class. Now, have any of you heard of the 10 sites of Paldea? Sounds like maybe I've heard of it at some point. I don't know though. As the name would imply, there are 10 sites in Paldea that are considered particularly beautiful. Is that going to be our homework? Among them, I would say that the Grand Olive Orchard is likely the most successful. You can see field after field of olive trees from the hill on the way to Cotondo. Isn't that where we live? 2 waterfalls are also outed among these 10 sites, Fury Falls and Gasaraya Falls. Then there's the peak of Glacier Mountain, known as Paldea's highest peak. There's another cliff on Glacier Mountain that's named after its rather unique shape. So let me ask you, my students, what is the name of the free cliff on Glacier Mountains? No need to grasp at straws. Wait, what? Is that a hint that it's Glaceria's grass? I don't know. You know what would be cool is if they did this like, you know, if you ever played Bully, or as it's known here in the UK, Canis Canimated, there's like, in art classes, you just got a basic, simple game where, I forget what you'd call it, but, you know, it's a very simple mini game. But then when it comes to the classes that involve photography, you know, go out and actually take pictures of specific things. That'd be cool if we had something like that, where it's like, okay, go out and take a picture of all 10 of these locations. We'll mark them all on the map for you. That'd be a fun little activity, but no. Maybe if I knew where they bloody were, I'd do it just for the sake of it, even without the game being like, yes, this is a quest. But I don't know what these, like, I'd forget instantly where these locations are. Exactly, it looks like a hand taking hold of something, doesn't it, MDB?
The three-pronged cliff on Garcia Mountain is in fact known as Garcia's grasp. Though its shape is far too stubby to be that of a human hand, I imagine someone thought it looked like a Pokemon hand grabbing something by the testicles. There's also the mountains in Area 3 of the East Province, where you can get a good look at Levincia. It's particularly gorgeous at night. It's a shame this game doesn't really have designated routes. We just have provinces, and it makes it more forgettable, because then you're like, what province was what? In fact, the view is so brilliant it's known as the Million Volt Skyline. I hear it's quite a hot spot for dates, and deservedly so for having such a romantic view. I imagine it's what the kids say these days, a very, flick selfie spot.
Is that what the kids are saying nowadays?
Of course, you may feel that not all 10 sites live up to their grudges names. How often do we visit some tourist spots only to be disappointed?
I remember watching a video on YouTube. Someone actually went on a trip around the US. Big, long road trip to visit all these liminal spaces, places, you know, that are the big famous ones are in the US. You know, you visit each location, most of them anyway, and you come to some of them and be like, this one's a bit disappointing compared to the other one. It's like, there was one, I think, in the Grand Canyon area. It's like, yeah, it's a bit kind of underwhelming, but you know, the Grand Canyon, man, that's freaking cool view and all that, but as a liminal space, yeah, it's kind of a bit weak, you know, not as good as some of the other ones.
Anyways, not to say that you shouldn't visit them, only that you should keep your hopes in check. And go to the Czech Republic. Anyways, the important thing is to go yourself and see them with your own two eyes. And sometimes a disappointing experience can be worthwhile in its own way. Take a chance. Well, that's it for today, class. Thank you for your attention.
Is it the Czech Republic now? I forget. Maybe it's Czech. That's gonna bug me otherwise. Let's see. God, I can't even freaking remember how you spell. Okay, I'll just look at a map of Europe. I'll be able to freaking figure it out that way. Come on, what was it called? How is it spelled? Yeah. It's because it's really bloody confusing. You got a freaking Z. CZECHIA. It's just called Czech now? Oh, Czech Republic, yeah. But also known as Czech and historically known as Bohemia. And you know, it's previously Czechoslovakia, because they were two countries were combined at one point during the Soviet Union, if I recall. But anyways, let's take on that last class. Don't be tardy on your ass. I don't even know what that means. I guess that means sitting down doing nothing.
Put away your phones. It is time to begin class. While you're out performing fieldwork with one of your Pokemon walking alongside you, have you ever noticed changes in its coloration?
That just reminded me of him going on about, going around. Those coin things. Apparently, in order to get the evolved form of that chest one, you gotta collect a ridiculous amount of those in, all around Paldea. That's how the evolution apparently works. I'm like, are you serious? My god, what a chore. I haven't even been counting. I didn't even realize that was a thing.
Oh, I don't mean that it suddenly becomes a shiny Pokemon or any nonsense like that.
part interruption. I say part interruption because I was expecting an interruption, but there wasn't an interruption. Does that make sense? Now I'm honestly expecting an interruption at any moment now.
Now, I don't mean that it suddenly becomes a shiny... I read that. I always do that. I am speaking of it becoming filthy.
Ah, yeah, you can clean your Pokemon.
Pokemon battle, they get hurt by moves used against them. They get battered by wind and rain. They get covered in sand and mud. They get, in a word, filthy. Filthy rich. I have seen many a trainer walking around with their adorable little Pokemon without addressing this issue. It is deplorable. Let me ask this question of someone who I am sure would not tolerate such shameful conduct.
You know, I remember when I was first introduced to this mechanic. I'm not sure what game it was first in. Because you could argue Gen 4 kind of had something like that. They didn't have it for the Pokemon themselves, but I remember you could clean your gym badges, if I recall, which was a really random little mechanic of the game. But in Gen 7, you know, Sun and Moon, I remember that. It's like, at the end of a battle, if I get a notification for it, I'd be like, okay, let's clean up the Pokemon. But with this game, you don't really get that at the end of a battle. You just, like, only really can address it when you, set up a picnic, I guess, which I rarely do.
Ah, yes, Miss Emily May. What should you do if your Pokemon is dirty?
Clean it up, pat on the head, nothing. Clean up, of course.
Perfectly correct. I knew I could count on you to provide me with such an answer. It's such a simple answer at that. When your Pokemon are dirty, clean them. This is, of course, simply common sense. But you know, it's much like how some people will go to the toilet and not wash their hands. Foolish, I say. That is why this world is full of germs.
Seriously, that boggles my mind. You know, it's like some guys will be like, hey, you know what, take a piss, don't need to wash my hands. Don't need to wash your hands? Dude, you gotta wash your hands. It's like, yeah, I just took a piss, what's the problem? It's like, what if you shake someone's hand right now? You might as well have them grabbing your dick. You dick?
Wash your goddamn hands. While you are having a picnic, you can approach the Pokemon on your team and perform a variety of actions. One such action is putting them through what I like to call the Pokemon wash. In other words, you are able to clean them up. You start by getting your sponge lathered up with soapy bubbles and you gently and carefully scrub your Pokemon.
Now, you know what would be a horrible gameplay element? It would be hilarious. But it would be horrible in practice because, you know, not for us, the player, but certainly for the character themselves, you know, the protagonist. If they had a feature where you had to clean up your Pokemon's crap. It's like, ah, man, we already did that in Digimon World, we just had to get them to go to the toilet or have a portable toilet with us. But now it's in Pokemon too?
Once your Pokemon is nice and covered in soapy bottles, the bottles will encapsulate the filth, then you simply wash it away with spray of water. This will get your Pokemon clean and shining bright as a Terrajewel.
Now, if they are shining as bright as a Terrajewel, they might have radiation poisoning, so maybe take them to the Pokemon Center.
It's already quite a bit of work, but this will also restore HP and cure status conditions. However, some Pokemon may have parts of their bodies that they don't want scrubbed or that they would rather not get wet.
Yeah, that was always the case in Sun and Moon. There'd be some Pokemon that would be like, no, no, not that spot. I feel like, yeah, if I recall, you can, like, when you pet your Pokemon, they definitely have, like, a part of their body where they're like, no, that irritates me. I'm not talking about the private area, I'm just meaning the general area. It's be like, maybe they don't like being, you know, the ear touch. Everything else is fine, but that ear is like, no, fuck off. And sometimes they'd be like, you know, hiss at you and stuff like that.
Be sure to keep that in mind, this in mind when cleaning your Pokemon. Now, the most important point that I must mention is that some Pokemon like to be dirty. Though I will contradict myself by saying this, please do remember that cleaning your Pokemon is not always the kind thing to do. Our time together has come to an end for today. I bid you all farewell.
So if we got muck on our team, never clean it. It'll probably freaking make us messier if anything. Well, we got stuff to do, but I don't think they've marked anything on the map for us. They rarely do. So, we can go battle the gym leaders again. Which it doesn't mark. Wait. Battle against versus gym leader. Okay, they do have the mark then. Okay. That's good. Question is, what order do I do this in? Let's have a look at the order I actually did things. So, I face you. So, Kotondo was first. Second gym leader was Brasius. Was the third gym leader I took on after that. That was Ravincia one. Then there was this guy, and then there was Larry. Then there was Ghost, and then there was you, Psychic, and then there was Ice. Now I could do this in any order, and that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be random with this. But before doing any of that, can we go back into the Greek crater? I want to see what we can do then now that Miraidon's, you know, all down with exploring the area. Hopefully we don't run into the other Miraidon, because I know it's probably gonna be in there. That's probably how you get Miraidon that you can, you know, just use in general and potentially trade. I imagine that's what most people have done, is, you know, get the legendary, trade it for the yellow version legendary. It's like they thought they could keep making Tantrum breaking the rules. Yeah, that's where you're wrong. Because here we are back in Area Zero. We are truly a rebel. Where's the music in this place, man? It's awfully quiet down here. Okay, that's the music. Oh, whoa, hold up. Get these hands, Mr. The Iron Hands. Was that your name? Iron Hands? Iron Handles as the Iron Bundle looks on. It's like, where were you all this time? Do you only appear after we defeat the final boss? You know, apparently, you know, the professor, he uses different Pokemon in the yellow version. Because the Pokemon we see here, like Iron Bundle and Iron Hands, they don't actually appear in the yellow version. You have to trade them. So you get different Pokemon instead for the battle. How about we make a U-turn? Guess we get to hear this cool music again, I guess. Can it be stunned? No, of course not.
Can it be poisoned? Yes. Charging up something fierce. Fierce defense. Man, I still haven't got more balls. Imagine if I accidentally used the Master Ball here. What do you want, Ginger? Wow, you better not knock over any of the stuff. Such as, you know, the console. I don't really have much to work with here, man. Shit. It's gonna knock itself out at this rate. I'm just gonna have to use the last of my Ultra Balls. Didn't realize I had such a low stock. And he fucked it. He fucked it. And he palmed me in the face. Like a prick. And now he's dead. Great job, Iron. Oh, no. Let's not go there. And now the Don fan looking ones here. Everyone's here, guys. Great. Yeah, great. Them bringing a good amount of Pokeballs for this shit. I didn't really think this one out. Just browsing through, guys. What was that other one that we haven't seen yet? Iron Galleons. That one, from what I can tell, is the rarest one. Which makes sense. Rambo and our friends are like, we gotta stop these Pokemon from getting out of here. They're from the future and stuff. Meanwhile, they've all spawned in the area, so we can assume that they failed to stop them from getting out. And they immediately started breeding, I guess. I would catch that evolved Girafarig, but you know, it's got a family, man. Can't be taking it from its family. Just gonna take a nap. Right, I want to test something here. Yes, we can in fact climb. Granted, it appears we do have ceilings. Whoa, what? How the hell did we get up here? I think we Skyrim this thing here.
We got a Skyrim situation on our hands. I don't know how to get down. There we go. For whatever reason, it just would not go down. Where's that cave area? Looks like a cave with a waterfall. Remember how we had to walk all the way around this damn place? I don't know where it was. We don't even have a map of this place, which is really annoying. I feel like it was near one of the stations. It's just I can't remember which one. I remember falling down here. I think it was near the starting points, honestly. Let's get up here. Really? Serious? Where is that cave? Ow. Was he T-posing that? I don't remember, was this the first or second one? I remember there was like some kind of turn in, there was just a random cave. It's like, I was like, oh, is this where to go? And it wasn't. It was not the way to go. It's not this way. Like, even with Miraidon to speed things up here, you know, it is quite a tedious bit of land to get through. Whoa, easy now. Where the hell am I going? I guess we are going up there then. Unless, is there anything over here? Nope. Where was that damn cave? Wow, buddy. Whoa, that was close. Where be the cave? Wow, how the hell did that happen? Excuse me. Do you know what a cave is? Glad I'm over here because I haven't come around here, it seems. was the cave? There, this is the entrance, isn't it? We came down from here. This is where we started. How the hell did I not pick up that when I was here? Let's see how high up this goes. I guess the game was like, no, 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 not allowed. That is just way too much. It would take so much to be able to load that in. It's bugging me, man. I can't freaking move on to gyms unless I, you know, at the very least see what that cave had at the top. I want to know. I got to know, and it's probably nothing.